In this mini design course, we're going to look at 6 graphic design exercises that you can do right now, and they will 100% for sure make you a better graphic designer. And the first exercise is something I call the style inversion exercise. And this is where you take a design that lives and breathes a certain style, and then you drag it into a completely different universe. I'll explain why later, because it is a huge skill to master as a graphic designer. So look at this Phoenix Mansion design. It's quiet, it's elegant, it's the kind of piece that says we only accept payments in gold bars. Now we've got embossed floral geometry, warm metallic type, deep navy textures. It practically smells like expensive perfume and generational wealth. Now here's the fun part. You take this work and you redesign it in a totally different visual language. So we could go for luxury to brutalist, smooth to sharp, a nod to full volume graffiti at 3 AM. And what we get at the end result is a brutalist reinterpretation. And suddenly Phoenix Mansion isn't a premium residential development anymore, it's a techno-rave poster tapped into a concrete wall. But the question remains, why is this a great exercise to do as a graphic designer? Well, this exercise forces you out of your comfort zone instantly. The moment you start thinking, wait, can I really take a luxurious brand and make it look like a recruitment poster for the Ministry of Typography? That's when your brain begins doing style parkour. The truth is, when you can take something like a luxury identity and then flawlessly flip it into brutalism and then back again, you're proving that you understand visual languages. The skill you gain here is style agility. It's the ability to switch design modes instantly, and it also helps you simply understand what a visual language is, which is fundamentally crucial. So the next exercise is something I call the 1 typeface, 3 voices challenge. You take one typeface, in this case that's mullish, and then you force it to speak 3 totally different moods. It could be literally anything, but I want to try out elegant, dynamic, and authoritative. The rule is simple. You're only allowed to use weight, scale, tracking, italic, and alignment. No new typefaces, no cheating, and no color use. Let's start with the elegant style. So mullish suddenly becomes soft-spoken and delicate, almost like it's trying to recite poetry in a candlelit room. Thin weight, generous tracking, and maybe a quiet center alignment. And then we flip it. Now mullish goes completely dynamic. Thick weight, aggressive scaling, tighter spacing, and the letters practically sprint across the layout. It's the same typeface, but just a completely different personality. And finally, the authority style. So straight, bold, centered, or left locked with no negotiation. No italics, no whispers, just solid, here I am, here are the rules, and you're gonna follow them. Again, the same typeface, but 3 totally different visual behaviors. This exercise helps you develop something many designers never truly learn or develop, and that is full typography control. Instead of saying, I need a fancy font or I need something bold, you start understanding why type feels the way it feels. You learn how spacing changes tone and how scale changes confidence, and also things like how alignment changes intention on a design. You then stop relying on downloading new fonts for every single project, and instead, you learn to squeeze every expressive drop out of the ones you already have. And this is the difference between a designer who knows fonts and a designer who knows typography, and clients can actually feel that instantly. The next exercise is called the reverse brief, and it's one of the most simplest ways to upgrade your design brain from I make things look good to I understand why things look good. So, you grab any existing design, maybe one of your own or something else out there. Maybe something like a high-end fashion editorial style piece, just like this, and instead of guessing what the designer intended here, you write the entire brief backwards. So start with the audience. Here, probably style-obsessed Gen Z and young millennials who follow niche fashion cultures and don't respond to traditional advertising at all. And then define the goal. So the brand is bold, conceptual, and slightly ahead of the present. Something that feels more like a collectible magazine cover than a sales graphic. The idea is to captivate and to appeal to a very niche audience. Next, the emotion. Well, this poster wants mystique, a cool confidence, and that subtle, I want to be a part of this world feeling. The type, the color, the imagery, they all need to feed into that. And finally, the CTA. So not loud, not salesy, just a soft nudge like explore this collection or drop begins April 2nd. And this blends into the aesthetic instead of screaming for attention on the design. But the point is that this trains your brain to look at why a design works and where it came from. Reverse engineering like this helps you better understand the process of graphic design. So the next exercise is really quite fun actually, and it's called the unexpected element swap, and it's basically sabotage but with reasoning behind it. So you take a perfectly functional design, like this neon high energy funk poster, and then you replace just one element with something that absolutely does not belong there. It could be the typeface, it could be an icon, but in this case, we're going with a nuclear option, which is the image. Instead of the cool headphone wearing DJ radiating pink nightclub energy, we're going to drop in a sweet grandmother quietly knitting a scarf while she's waiting for her turn on the decks. Suddenly, the poster becomes unintentionally hilarious, confusing maybe, and also beautifully wrong. And that's exactly the point of this exercise. Because when something in a design shocks the system, even in the smallest way, it forces the viewer to remember it. The unexpected element acts like a spotlight that reveals how attention actually works. It locks onto the unexpected. And once you see how one unusual detail can actually hijack the whole design, you start understanding something fundamental about visual communication. Iconic designs often aren't iconic because they're perfect. They're iconic because they have one strong, unmistakable idea or concept, maybe an element that stands out so clearly you can identify the poster from across the street. Once you learn how one unexpected or awkward element can actually completely steal the show, you can flip that skill around and deliberately create the right element, the one that should steal the show. You can pinpoint the iconic ingredient on a design and you can control attention. And when you can finally control attention, everything you create becomes more impactful. So this exercise is called the 90-second hierarchy test, and it's one of the fastest ways to hone in your skills when it comes to layout and structure on a graphic design. So you take a cluttered design like this DSLR promo. You can see here everything is fighting for attention at the same kind of volume, and then you give yourself exactly only 90 seconds to fix the hierarchy and the structure. So no new fonts, no new effects, no redesigns, just size, weight, maybe some color and spacing. In the original, the camera text features are scattered everywhere. The visual weight is evenly distributed and your eye doesn't really know where to look first and where to finish. It's not wrong as such, it's just unfocused, excuse the pun. But with the quick 90-second pass, everything just snaps into order. The title becomes a clear hero, the features move into a cleaner rhythm, and the buy now button is smaller and has its own kind of proximity. Then suddenly, the design feels intentional, confident, and far easier to process. And the beauty of this exercise is that the time limit forces you out of overthinking mode. You look at the layout and you ask, what should the viewer actually notice first, second, and third? And the moment you start answering those questions with size, with weight, with color, and spacing alone, you begin understanding hierarchy and structure on an instinctive level. And after a few rounds of this, you'll be able to walk into any layouts, some messy poster, some chaotic website, a tangled app interface, and you'll be able to fix that visual structure pretty fast. So the next exercise is called the 5 constraint sprint, and it's basically speedrunning graphic design with ankle weights on. So you give yourself 20 minutes to build a full concept design with constraints. So 1 typeface, 3 base colors, 1 hero image, and 5 words of text. That's it. And what happens is quite fascinating, because the moment you remove the endless buffet of options, so no font hunting, no complex palettes, no extra imagery, you're forced to make a design that is functional, and you need to work through pure design making. And yeah, take this poster for example, a single typeface, a bold 3-color world, 1 striking image, and a tiny amount of copy. Yet the whole thing does feel loud, it feels confident and editorial. The simplicity doesn't actually weaken it, in fact, it strengthens it. The secret is that restrictions eliminate hesitation. Your mind isn't wandering through thousands of possibilities, it's laser focused on making the few ingredients you have count. And that tension between what you want to do and what you're allowed to do is where creativity can actually spike. You start thinking more strategically about scale, contrast, placement, and mood, and you realize you don't need 15 layers to make a statement here. You need clarity. You need a strong center of gravity. You need one visual idea executed with confidence. And the skill you gain here is creative problem solving under pressure. You get faster as a designer, you get sharper, you make decisions instead of browsing different options. And once you've done this sprint exercise enough times, you'll notice something pretty big. Your client projects suddenly feel easier. You produce strong concepts quicker. You stop wasting time in the maybe phase. And it's a kind of exercise that trains speed without sacrificing style or skill. And that's a superpower every designer needs and also probably wants, whether they admit it or not. So which of these exercises can you see yourself doing before a project or just in your free time? Let me know with a comment down below, and also if you want to see more videos just like today's video. But until next time guys, design your future today. Peace.